In Judges 11, we are immersed in a biblical narrative rich in twists and turns and profound teachings. The story of Jephthah, one of Israel's judges, unfolds with intrigue, promises, and sacrifice, capturing the essence of moral and ethical dilemmas that resonate through the ages. Let us embark on this fascinating journey that leads us to question the choices, challenges, and consequences that permeate Jephthah's life. Chapter 11 of Judges begins with Jephthah, a central character whose origins are shrouded in controversy and marginalization. Son of a prostitute, Jephthah carries the stigma of a dubious lineage, relegated to the periphery of society. His exclusion from his own family, led by half-siblings who were the result of a legitimate union, highlights the intensity of prejudice rooted in society at the time. However, Jephthah, far from giving in to self-pity, chooses to forge a new life as a valiant warrior. His journey of overcoming highlights the ability of the human character to transcend adversity, defying social expectations. This segment, titled The Rise of Jephthah, sets the stage for a narrative rich in emotions and lessons, exploring universal themes of acceptance, honor, and resilience. The fulfillment of the oath, a crucial stage in Jephthah's life. Before leading the army against the Ammonites, he makes a hasty oath to the Lord, promising to sacrifice the first person who leaves his house after victory. The dramatic twist occurs when his only daughter, emerges as the first to welcome him. The anguish and tragedy of this moment challenge Jephthah in an unbearable way. He finds himself faced with a terrible dilemma: fulfill his vow to the Lord and sacrifice his own daughter, or break his promise and disobey God. This narrative highlights how promises made under pressure can have dire human consequences, leaving an indelible mark on the collective consciousness of the people of Israel. The conclusion reveals an annual lament by the daughters of Israel for the daughter of Jephthah, highlighting the depth of the tragedy and its lasting repercussions. This excerpt challenges us to reflect on the nature of promises, religious devotion, and the difficult choices leaders face on their journeys. At the end of this intriguing journey, Jephthah's story invites us to deeply reflect on the choices we make and the consequences we face. Her resilience in the face of marginalization and the harrowing dilemma of the oath highlight the complexity of the human condition and the intersection of faith, ethics, and leadership. The narrative of Jephthah, found in Judges chapter 11, transcends the centuries, continuing to challenge and inspire. She reminds us of the importance of reflecting on our promises, examining our commitments, and considering the ethical implications of our actions. In analysis, the story of Jephthah teaches us that faith and courage can manifest themselves in the most unexpected circumstances, and that individual character has the power to shape destinies, regardless of controversial origins. As we close this chapter of Jephthah's story, we are invited to take with us the valuable lessons his journey provided. May we, as readers, find inspiration to face our own challenges with resilience, ethics, and above all, the wisdom to reflect on the choices we make on our own life journey. The account of Judges 11 offers us a rich source of reflection that can resonate in our days, even in a context so different from the ancient world. Although circumstances and practices may have changed, the underlying principles of this story continue to teach us valuable lessons. One of the most evident lessons is the importance of responsibility and care when making promises and oaths. Jephthah made a hasty oath to God without fully considering its consequences. It reminds us that our words and commitments have power and can shape our destiny and the destiny of others. In an era of light commitments and throwaway promises, Jephthah's story urges us to be more conscious and responsible in our promises, especially those made in moments of emotional intensity or religious fervor. Furthermore, Jephthah's story highlights the complexity of the choices we face in conflict situations. While Jephthah sought peace through negotiation, he was also willing to defend his people in war when peace was not possible. It reminds us that in an ever-changing and challenging world, leadership often involves making difficult decisions and finding creative solutions to complex problems. The relationship between faith and action is also an important topic. Jephthah sought divine guidance and made a vow to God, demonstrating his trust in divine intervention in his life. Although the story has a tragic outcome due to the fulfillment of his oath, it reminds us that faith is not just a passive belief, but also a conviction that leads us to act. In our day, this lesson invites us to consider how our faith influences our actions and decisions, and how we can balance our religious devotion with values such as compassion, familial love, and ethical responsibility. Another important aspect of Jephtha's story is the notion that the circumstances of birth should not define a person's potential. Jephthah faced rejection and prejudice due to his dubious background, but his determination, courage, and skills elevated him to a position of leadership. This reminds us that in our day and age, it is essential to recognize and value the potential of each individual, regardless of their origins or circumstances. Ultimately, the story of Jephthah in Judges 11 invites us to reflect on the complexity of the human condition, the moral choices we face, and the role of faith and responsibility in our lives. Although we live in a different time, these fundamental principles continue to guide and challenge us, offering us guidance on our personal and collective journey. Reasons for prayer in Judges 11. Wisdom in decision-making. One of the central lessons of Jephthah's story in Judges 11 is the complexity of the choices he faces. He is called to lead his people in a time of crisis and conflict. While he seeks peace through negotiation, he also prepares for war. This dilemma highlights the importance of wisdom in decision-making, responsibility for promises and commitments. Another reason for prayer in Judges 11 is responsibility in the promises and commitments we make. Jephthah made an oath to God that had tragic consequences when he fulfilled it literally. His story reminds us that our words have power and that we should be careful when making promises. Faith and trust in challenging times. Faith and trust in God are recurring themes in Judges 11. Jephthah seeks divine help before the battle and makes a vow to God. He demonstrates his faith by trusting God for guidance and victory. However, the unfolding story reminds us that faith can also be tested in times of great challenge.